We are delighted to have with us tonight in her final year of service here in Atlanta, my very good friend, our very good friend, the Consul General for Israel to the Southern United States of America, Anat Sultan-Dadon. As Anat makes her way up here to the bima, we are grateful that she will share some remarks and also offer some prayers for us this evening. Especially grateful that there is a deal on the table that has been accepted by all parties to bring the hostages home.
Thank you. It is an honor and a privilege to join you once again in this beautiful tradition of unity between the Temple and Ebenezer Baptist Church under the leadership of Rabbi Berg and Reverend Senator Warnock. Together, your communities exemplify Together, your communities exemplify Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision of a beloved community, joined by a commitment to sisterhood and brotherhood, one community. The allyship between the Jewish people and African Americans often brings to mind the civil rights movement, including the famous image of Rabbi Heschel marching alongside Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in 1965, following Dr. King's call for religious leaders to join the Selma to Montgomery March. This is indeed a beautiful image demonstrating a genuine friendship and a necessary allyship, but it is important to remember that this captured moment is but one of countless others before, during, and after the civil rights movement. Our kinship predates the civil rights movement. Our kinship predates the Holocaust. One small but remarkable example, in 1911, Julius Rosenwald, an American-born son of German Jewish immigrants who became one of the largest philanthropists in the early 20th century, stated that the horrors that are due to race prejudice come home to the Jew more forcefully than to others of the white race on account of the centuries of persecution which they have suffered and still suffer. Rosenwald went on to establish, in partnership with Booker T. Washington, a prominent African-American intellectual and thought leader of the Tuskegee Institute, the construction of nearly 5,000 schools for African-American children across the South, built between 1917 and 1932, years before the Civil Rights Movement, years before the Holocaust. Rosenwald, Heschel, and so many other Jewish leaders took a clear stand on the right side of history, not because it was convenient or popular, far from it. They took a stand because it was the right thing to do, because it was the moral thing to do, because it was the Jewish thing to do. Tonight, as we reflect on Dr. King's enduring legacy, we are also well aware of the harsh realities of our world. Israel, my home, is in the midst of a war that we did not seek, but are forced to fight. A war not just for our survival, but for the values of freedom and humanity that sustain the entire free world. This is a fight against terror, tyranny, and an axis of evil that has brought immeasurable suffering and tragedy to so many in Israel, in our region, and beyond. 10 days from now, the world will mark International Holocaust Remembrance Day, 80 years after the end of the Holocaust. Many will utter the words, "never again." And yet, we are living at a time in which never again is turning into once again. On October 7th, Jewish men, women, and children were once again slaughtered for the crime of being Jewish. Once again, anti-Semitism is rampant, with Jews and Israelis being targeted globally on the streets, on college campuses, in and outside of synagogues. And once again, too many leaders, political leaders, faith leaders, academic leaders, are failing to take a clear moral stand. Dr. King famously said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." This truth demands of us to stand together with courage and moral clarity to recognize that our actions, both words and deeds, have profound consequences. Supporting Israel in this existential struggle against those who seek the destruction of Israel and the Jewish people is a shared imperative for the entire free world. This moment demands unity, resolve, and a clear message to those who seek to sow division and fear, that we will not waver in our commitment to justice and peace. Israel will continue to do all that is necessary to ensure the safety of our country and our people, while maintaining our everlasting commitment to the path of peace, whenever we face leaders courageous enough to choose peace over hatred. 469 days since the brutal October 7th attack, today, as Rabbi Berg mentioned, we are cautiously hopeful that we will soon begin to see the remaining hostages reunited with our families and with our nation. For these 98 men, women, and children, October 7th is still not over. They have been enduring hell for over 15 months. We cannot rest until every single hostage is free and reunited with their loved ones. A final note before I proceed to the prayer for the state of Israel and the prayer for the hostages. 5 years ago, shortly after arriving in Atlanta, I first had the privilege of taking part in this meaningful tradition. That evening, I also had the pleasure of first getting acquainted with Rabbi Alvin Sugarman and his wife, Barbara. They were both incredibly warm, welcoming, and kind. And kindness is what stood out every time I had the pleasure of meeting or hearing him speak. I was very sorry to learn today of the passing of Rabbi Sugarman, and I would like to extend my sincere condolences to his family, friends, and this community, who in a way are all a part of his extended family. May his incredible light continue to shine as it does this evening, which continues also his legacy. May his memory be a blessing. The prayer for the state of Israel. Our Father in heaven, rock and redeemer of the people of Israel, bless the state of Israel with its promise of redemption. Shield it with your love, spread over it the shelter of your peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them, crown their efforts with triumph. Bless the land with peace, and its inhabitants with lasting joy. And let us say, Amen. And the prayer for the hostages. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless, preserve, and protect the captives and missing soldiers of the citizens of Israel and the Israel Defense Forces. May God rescue them from captivity and speedily restore them in peace, in the merit of the prayers of this holy congregation who pray for them. May the Holy One, blessed be God, show them mercy, increase their strength, remove their pain, and send them a recovery of body and spirit. May God return them to their families swiftly and soon, and let us say amen. Thank you.
Thank you, General Consul.